Whether you realize it yet or not, your inner child and the different beliefs and experiences that you had growing up are still affecting you right now to this day. So on today's video, I'm going to be diving into how to reprogram your subconscious mind to heal different inner child wounds, like some of these mentioned here at the top of the board. And I'm going to be sharing a 5-step process to help you shift out whenever you notice that your inner child is feeling triggered, hurt, or upset. So make sure you stick around till the end of this video, because I'm going to be sharing some really powerful tools and extra resources for you, but only if you watch till the end. So let's dive in. Hey, welcome back to another video. My name is Kara Michelle, and I'm here to help you live your truth. Now, on today's video, as I mentioned, we are talking all about the inner child. And what I want to start with before diving into all of this is the fact that when you are developing and when your brain is developing, your subconscious mind forms up until around the age of about 7 years old. So I don't need to really put that on here, but let's just put it on there because I did. So up until about 7 years old, your subconscious mind is developing. So that means every single thing that you see, hear, feel, taste, touch, experience up until that point is basically being stored in your mind, which we can think of like a computer, like a programming, right? It's being stored in there. And then these are the things that create your beliefs, your perception, your reality. So we're so impressionable growing up, right? We're so impressionable. We pick up on all these different things, and a lot of these things then shape our reality as we get older. So the way I like to see it, and one of my mentors once told me that like absolutely just changed everything for me, was thinking about it like a 7-year-old is in the driver's seat of your life right now. So your 7-year-old self is kind of in control unless you gain control and rein back in your power over your subconscious mind and shift those habits. So if you are someone who struggles like with any of these things mentioned on here, a lot of these can actually be traced back to your childhood and to certain things that you experienced or felt growing up. So maybe you find yourself always doubting your abilities, feeling like you're not good enough. Maybe you start to make progress in something and then you end up sabotaging or pulling yourself back. It's almost like a safety mechanism where you're like, this seems scary and unknown or different or new to me. So even if it might be exactly what I wanted, it feels like scary. So I'm going to sabotage. I'm actually going to pull myself back for protection and a safety mechanism. And I'm going to just come back to where I used to be. And so then you never end up progressing to where you really want to get to. That's something that I struggled with quite a bit. Maybe it's seeking approval and looking for validation externally, because as a child, maybe you felt like you didn't receive the love that you needed. Or you notice, this is a really common one, you notice that you always got praise when you did certain things. And so it created this pattern of seeking that approval and seeking for that validation by doing more things for others or trying to show up in a certain way so that you get that approval back, instead of just knowing that who you are right now is more than enough and is already worthy. So creating that internal validation over that external validation is really helpful here. Maybe you struggle with insecurities, right? That could show up in so many different areas. And again, a lot of these things, actually all of these things, can be like things that were unmet. Let's say like unmet needs of your inner child. So your inner child is still that version of you who felt like things weren't met growing up, and so now you're searching for it in these different ways. So maybe you feel unworthiness because certain things happened in your childhood. I know I had a lot of unworthiness because my dad was always so busy with work, and so I felt like I didn't matter, like I wasn't a priority, or like I was just a burden because he was never around and he didn't show his love the way that I needed it. So that created a lot of unworthiness wounds that showed up and translated in so many different relationships and experiences as I got older. So these these things are so incredibly powerful. And when you uncover them, you create so much power in transforming your own life and transforming your story and how you see yourself. Judgment, this could be towards yourself as well as towards others, where you feel like maybe you're always judging and criticizing. Again, it ties back into not feeling good enough, and so you judge yourself because you didn't perform well, or you didn't get an A on that test, or these different things that happen when you're younger. And now, as an adult, you're continuing to base your worth on that level of judgment. So you never feel good enough in your career or in your relationships because you're so focused in judging those little small things that maybe you created beliefs around when you were younger. Then we have anxiety. So anxiety, again, is usually a feeling when we're not feeling safe or we don't feel like we're in control. And so if you look back to your childhood, what moments were there in your life? Like, what big moments did you feel like you had a lack of control? And did it create this sense of like, like I really feel like I have no power? And so then it creates the stress and the anxiety, the tension. Or perhaps this could actually be something that you observed from your parents. Maybe they were always stressed and anxious and worrying. And so that just became a subconscious pattern in you, and you just thought it was normal. I thought anxiety was totally normal until I was about like 16 or 17, and I realized that not everyone was as incredibly anxious and overwhelmed and like sick all the time and feeling so consumed by their thoughts the same way that I was. So that is a big one. The fear as well is like fear of the unknown, fear of change, fear of failure. What sort of ways did your child self growing up have fear in their abilities, or fear in what was possible or what the world was? You know, were you afraid that the world was a scary place? And is that something that's continuing to be a belief or like a subconscious program in your mind? And the last one on this list here is perfectionism, which again, think about maybe the pressures you felt as a child to perform in school or to perform in sports or music or dance or whatever it was that you did. And did this create a level of, once again, unworthiness, which I think sadly is kind of the root of a lot of these things, right? But it felt like, oh, I'm not good enough unless I am absolutely perfect. And so then you're constantly seeking this perfection, which is impossible to ever reach because it doesn't even exist if we're really looking at it. And now you're creating this pressure and stress that is going to continue to translate and cause more problems. So that is a quick overview. Feel free, if you're willing to, feel free to let me know in the comments below which one of these you relate to the most, where you feel like, you know, maybe my inner child is really holding on to the anxiety, or maybe my inner child feels a lot of unworthiness because of different things. You don't have to share your whole life story if that's too personal, but I would love to hear from you and know which one you relate to the most, because then I can also do some extra videos specifically on that for all of you. So with that said, I digress. Let's get into the next part of this video, and that is this 5-step process that's going to help you to shift out of this place. So there are so many different ways you can look at your inner child, and the way I like to, the easiest thing is just to imagine like a younger version of yourself and really connect to what did you, how did you look? How did you feel? How did you show up? What were you seeking? What were you looking for? And 99.99% of the time, you were probably just seeking love and approval and that feeling of like support or connection, which ultimately is love, right? So if you're searching for love and then you didn't feel like you received it in certain ways, that could have led to any of these things, as well as any of the beliefs that were created around, oh, the only time I receive the love that I wanted is when I get the perfect grade, or when I took care of my siblings, or I got love from my parents when I was quiet. So now you have this subconscious belief that you need to be more quiet in order to be loved, right? What kind of things happened in your childhood? And this might be triggering. This might be difficult to look back at some of these things, but I promise this is where the change starts. So step number 1 is to become aware. And I say this all the time, I'm a broken record, but it's because it's so important. You need to become aware first. So like I said, reflect on your childhood, reflect on your upbringing and the different feelings or beliefs that you might have created. Reflect on the times when you felt like you were good enough and you received that love, and what were the times where you felt that you weren't good enough and that love was maybe taken away from you, or you maybe got scolded or you got in trouble. Because a lot of those memories, though they might not be extremely traumatic, and I put that in quotes because we think of trauma as this crazy heavy thing all the time, but it could have still been a trauma, a moment where a child gets yelled at or scolded and they don't understand why. That is extremely traumatic to the child's brain. So you might have created then a belief of, oh my gosh, I can't ever do that again or I'll get in trouble. Or these are the things that take away the love, so I shouldn't ever embody that. So many people dim their light because they felt like their light was too much, or they were told to be quiet, or they were sent to their room for being different or for being themselves, or for maybe like, I don't know, just doing their own thing. And so then they're afraid to be themselves as they get older. So we want to create the awareness around your beliefs and around your childhood, and take a look at what sort of things might be still affecting you in your life. So if you have a major pattern in your life right now where it keeps showing up, whether it's a money block, or whether it's something in relationships and partnerships, or whether it's with your confidence or your career and like never being able to get to that next level, whatever that is, take a look at that pattern. And then reflect on your childhood, reflect on the things that you saw around you growing up, and reflect on the beliefs or the experiences that might be related to this pattern. And I guarantee you, you are gonna find something in there that is probably a huge, huge piece of where this started. So first, become aware of these patterns, become aware of where you might have these blocks or these things showing up for you. And then you want to observe your thoughts and your beliefs. So the number one thing, I'm just going to make this extra messy now. The number one thing they teach in mindfulness training is to realize that you are not your thoughts. So you're going to become aware of your thoughts, become aware of the patterns and the programming, and then you want to observe. Becoming the observer means detaching. So it means instead of having a thought, a really anxious thought about something, and believing that now you're anxious or you're an anxious person, you're going to detach. You step away. It's like you're allowing your mind, you're realizing that if you're having the thought, that means you are not the thought. Comment this down below. If I am having a thought, it means I am not the thought itself. I am the observer. I'm the observer. When you realize this, you take your power back and you have so much more ability to really gain control in your life and in your mind. So I am not the thought. I am the observer, right? That is the key. So as you start to observe these thoughts and beliefs, that's where the power comes in, where now you can start to go, oh, wait a minute. Why am I thinking this thing? Or, ooh, why did I just feel that way? Or like, oh, why am I doing that thing again? Why am I falling back into that pattern of self-doubt or unworthiness or judgment or perfectionism? Where is this coming from? These questions have the power to change your life. And this is how I changed my life in the last few years, was just starting to use my overthinking and my extreme anxiety as a superpower. So instead of letting my anxious thoughts take off and run away with me like I used to, I realized, wait a minute, if I'm having these thoughts, that means I am not my thoughts. So I can just observe them and I can question them and reflect on them. And number 3 here is question the root cause. And then because I can question the root cause, I can actually heal it. I can make a change. I can make a shift. So I used my anxiety, instead of spiraling, I used it to think positive thoughts and to think questioning thoughts and to dive deeper and deeper into where do these things come from. So if you struggle with anxiety and overthinking, highly recommend these first 3 steps. Regardless, I recommend these steps. They're going to change everything for you. But really using your overthinking in a good way so that you're uncovering these things. And so many of my clients inside my 90-day Conquer Your Mind program have been like blown away by how much their life has changed just by learning how to do this. And just by really constantly showing up each day to question why they are thinking certain things. Because you have 70,000 to 90,000 thoughts a day, and most of that is just subconscious. It's just your patterned programming. It's just happening. You're not even aware of it. You're not realizing it's going on. The second you start to create this awareness and observe them and question them, that's when you have all the power to change it. And you go, whoa, I don't even know where that thought came from. That's something that like takes me back to when I was 6 and this thing happened, or that reminds me of how my mom always said that, so maybe I picked it up from her, or oh, that's something I saw on a TV show and it stuck with me forever, right? Once you realize that and you realize you are not the thought itself, you can make a change and you can start to create new beliefs that are going to help you. And that is step number 4. Imprint new beliefs. So it's a beautiful I don't know why I'm so out of breath on this video today, you guys. I don't know what's happening. It's like I didn't even drink coffee. Usually when I drink coffee, then I'm super out of breath. I don't know what's going on. So you want to imprint the new beliefs, and the only time you can do this is once you've done these first few steps, okay? I see this mistake all the time. Do not do this. Please do not do this. Do not just start with positive affirmations. Please don't. If you listen to anything from this video, listen to all of it, but if you take anything away, make sure you don't just try to use positive affirmations. If you just skip to step number 4, you haven't uncovered any of the top stuff and you haven't cleared any of that out. So you're basically like this fully programmed computer, or you're just this big, full of information and a lot of negative information, a lot of negative programming. You're just like consumed by that, and you're trying to just like stick positive affirmations on top like little sticky notes, but they're not going to absorb. They're not going to go inwards because you've got this huge shield, this huge programming built up around you, okay? So you have to start with the foundation work of those first 3 steps to uncover, to clear out and release, because now you go from this huge shield, this huge program, and you're slowly bringing it down. You're slowly clearing it out until you're becoming more of just your truest self, that true being who you are underneath all the programming and beliefs, insecurities, doubts, all of these things. So it's only from doing that clearing first that the positive affirmations actually have somewhere to stick. So please, I cannot tell you the number of times I've talked to people and clients who have been like, I thought I was doing this, I was trying that, I was reading all these books, I was, doing positive affirmations, all these things, and nothing worked. Well, it's because they hadn't done the clearing and releasing first, okay? And if this is something you want to dive into more of, make sure you check out my free mindset training. It's linked down below, and I break down this exact 3-step process that I teach inside my programs. I tell you exactly where to start, where to go to next, and why this is the most powerful way to create the transformation in your life that's actually going to last, okay? So make sure you check that out, and please don't just skip to step number 4 and try to imprint new beliefs, okay? Now, once you've done this, you just want to repeat it. This becomes your life's work. And like, it might sound exhausting, and sometimes it is. Sometimes it's really tiring for that to be my life's work. but there is nothing more freeing and more powerful and empowering than having control over my own life and over my thoughts. As someone who literally used to be consumed by all of those things and more, having this system, having this ability to become aware of my thoughts, to separate from them, to observe them, question them, find the root cause, and then dismiss what doesn't help me and imprint in what does, is everything. So I use this in every single area of my life, constantly, all day, every day. A thought comes up and I'm like, whoa, where did that come from? That is not helpful at all. And I look backwards, I uncover, I observe it, I find the root cause, and I go, ooh, that's actually related to my childhood because my dad did this and it made me feel this way. I didn't realize I was still holding that, or I didn't realize that was affecting me so much. And now I can imprint in a new belief of going, okay, yes, that affected me and that was really strong and painful, but does it define me, or does it need to carry so much power over my life right now? And so now I can go, you know what? I can see this situation differently because I'm not a 6-year-old or a 5-year-old with a developing brain who's just searching for love. I can see now that, you know, he was just doing his best, or he was stressed with that, or whatever the case may be. You can see the situation from a new light, which allows you to imprint in those new beliefs and those new feelings. So this whole system that I've shared is so powerful. Please give it a try. Let me know in the comments below your biggest takeaways. And when you try this out, please come back to this video and share your breakthroughs, share your experiences, because I know that this has so much power to transform the thoughts that you're telling, and to transform and help you heal that beautiful inner child who just wants to feel loved and supported. And now you, as an adult, have the ability to go back and connect with your inner child and give them the love, give them all the things that they needed. So if you found this video helpful, please make sure to hit the thumbs up, subscribe, and turn on the notifications so that you're notified every time I upload a new video. And if you want more, make sure you check out these other videos here that I dive into more around the inner child, as well as different energy healing tools and subconscious reprogramming tools. I'll see you on the next video. Thanks so much for watching.